I feel like this fight, I think for the first time in my career, I'm kind of being underestimated. And I get it because in boxing you're only as good as your last performance, but I'm telling you lot now, July the 12th, when I get the win, the Hamzah Sheeraz hype train is going to be back on again, and listen, we're coming with everything.
You're going into Edgar's backyard. He's even called you soft.
Yep.
So like you said, there's a lot of things going in his favor here.
Yeah, listen, if I was soft, I wouldn't be going into a fight like this at 168 at a new weight.
In boxing, the distinction between confidence and chaos tends to reveal itself when the lights shine brightest. Some boxers show up with insatiable hunger. Others, they bring the noise, and sometimes the storm drowns them before the first bell rings. Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Sheeraz wasn't a fight. It was an open and shut case of how fast momentum can shift when the narrative outside the ring trumps what really occurs within it. Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Sheeraz went down like one of those stories the sport never stops carrying in its back pocket. A narrative that begins in faith, but somewhere along the line veers into something different altogether. Berlanga came into the buildup with the volume cranked. It was never confidence. It became theatrical, but with each phrase, the bullseye on his back got bigger. And when you yell that loudly, the fall rings longer when it happens.
F***ing giraffe.
What's the tune we're playing there, Edgar? Seems like he's got some loaded up stuff for you, Hamzah.
Things went awry early in the promotion when Berlanga wrote off Sheeraz completely. Not in ability, not in game plan, just in mindset. The emphasis was not on training or danger, but rather on domination. Domination of the story, domination of the headlines. He made it sound like it was all over before they'd even shaken hands, but boxing, as ever, doesn't trade in assumptions. It slaps them back in your face brutally when the time comes.
The Turkey's his pappy. You know, that's his pappy right there. Turkey got him like this, walking like, hey, don't talk. When I talk, don't say nothing. When I tell you to move, you move. So he's doing that. That's what I'm saying. He don't want to be in New York. Like, he right. Be fighting in New York. Come on, he's just doing this because they putting the pressure. I'm like, yo, you got to take this fight because if not, you're not going to get the Canelo fight. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, I'm going to take the fight. But I already beat him.
Mentally, you just
think I already beat him.
He's trying to overlook you already. Think the next thing.
Right there, I beat him. I started telling him I just beat you. You don't even know I just beat you, bro. Because I'm looking at you like Canelo. I'm going away for camp. Once I get him out the way, it's like, all right, now, yo, Turkey, let's sit down, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk.
The energy didn't end with Sheeraz. Berlanga's tone also turned to the promotional side, and along for the ride came Oscar De La Hoya. The tension began to move past the matchup, spilling onto those working behind the scenes. In public moments, it was apparent Berlanga was driving the narrative with his own hands, and when the hype machine begins working overtime, it's seldom constructed to stand. Things were personal now, not merely professional.
At one point, you guys were cool, and he was trying to sign you, and him questioning also you of how Puerto Rican you are.
Yeah, he's crazy, bro. That's why I told him I'll smack him when I see him, and he better have security, because he is disrespectful. Like, he's just old. Like, he's just so disrespectful, and we don't come from that cloth, you know what I'm saying? We never got disrespected by nobody, especially a person that, like, we looked up to this dude, you know? He's Mexican, but we looked up to him. He's a legend in the sport. For him to come and try to trash our event, and then cool, he got a hate relationship with Canelo, but keep that on that side, you know what I'm saying? You don't gotta jump rope on my and then come on my side. Like, you was just trying to sign me a year ago, you know what I'm saying, a year and a half ago. You was just on my you feel me, on my doo-doo. You was on my doo-doo for like 5 hours trying to sign me, you know. But shout out to Oscar, man. Good guy.
Oscar's reply wasn't quite on the same level of tone. While Berlanga was fiery, Oscar remained breezy, pushing aside the trash talk like it wasn't even worth the response. But indifference appeared to energize Berlanga. It was no longer a fight, it was a performance, and Edgar was playing it like his own play. But when one continues to attempt to get under another's skin and fails, frustration tends to become careless, and that was evident.
Oh, look, we've been having a beef back and forth because I criticized his so-called victory parade after he lost against Canelo. So, you know, the trash talker he is and the loudmouth he is, he brings up all that crap from 15 years ago, whatever. Look, it's all good to me. Hey, I'm rich. I can do whatever I want. So I feel that Berlanga is not mentally stable. He's not. So what I had to do is rattle him first. But those are the mind games, baby. I've been in this game forever. Look, I'm a fighter first and a promoter second. Today, I had to be a promoter first and a fighter second. But I was ready. If Berlanga came at me, I would be ready. Yeah. But guess what? Berlanga has a tough test in front of him because his head is all over the place now.
By the press conference, the spark was already ignited. Berlanga took the performance to another level. Gestures, interruptions, all of it amped up. Sheeraz, on the other hand, remained in character. One side was attempting to manipulate the circus, and the other was only concerned about the result. It wasn't a word war. It was one fighter speaking and the other training. When press conferences become distractions, usually that's an indication that something else is lacking beneath.
First of all, sit down. You have no world titles. You have no world titles. Oh, yeah, let me put them on now. Let me put them on now, baby. I got some on right here for you. Come here, I got some right here for you. Wait, listen to me. Listen to this. This guy.
The theatrics did not abate at the face-off. Berlanga got his final opportunity to build tension before the gloves went on. It was not about tactics, it was bluster. The atmosphere was not tense, it was raucous. But Sheeraz did not take the bait. He did not waver, did not react. The din ricocheted off him, leaving nothing in its wake. That sort of calm in the midst of noise typically speaks volumes more than any pre-fight prognostication. It spoke volumes here.
Welcome to New York.
When the stare down on the final confrontation came, Berlanga attempted to deliver one last blow, this time verbally. A confident declaration boomed enough for the cameras, cut enough to infuriate. But even that seemed hollow, not because the words were not powerful, but because they were foreseen. Sheeraz remained motionless. The room had already reached its decision. The hype was over. Now the ring had to determine what was important and what was not.
I feel like this fight, I think for the first time in my career, I'm kind of being underestimated, and I get it because in boxing you're only as good as your last performance, but I'm telling you lot now, July the 12th, when I get the win, the Hamzah Sheeraz hype train is going to be back on again, and listen, we're coming with everything.
You're going into Edgar's backyard. He's even called you soft.
Yep.
So like you said, there's a lot of things going in his favor here.
Yeah, listen, if I was soft, I wouldn't be going into a fight like this at 168 at a new weight.
And when it did come, all of it changed. The bluster, the energy, the swagger. It was gone the second the score was settled. Berlanga wasn't only shocked, he looked shattered. The din had vanished, replaced by something more weighty. That sort of silence always hurts worst when it comes on the heels of so many words. Reality came in a hurry, and it didn't leave him room to breathe. What happened next made that more apparent.
No cameras right now, Papa. No cameras.
Soon after the brawl, Berlanga was taken to the hospital. Not much was said, but there didn't have to be. The photograph spoke for itself. The man who created the moment through flames and commotion was now facing the consequences in silence. Whether it was fatigue, injury, or just the burden of it all, everything had finally caught up to him, and it caught up quickly. Bozy Ennis, the sport's most respected intellect, had his take. But it wasn't hype, it was technical. He identified what wasn't working, what wasn't set, and where the fight got away. No bull, no chatter, just simplicity. Such a performance doesn't require an autopsy, but it does provide lessons. And in boxing, the right minds always notice what others miss in plain sight.
Berlanga, Berlanga should have started off with using that jab to get inside, start ripping the body real quick. Berlanga was waiting too long, to me. He should have had that pressure on him real quick from the start. You know what I mean? He's walking around just doing his thing. You can't play around with a puncher. He also was a puncher too. Sheeraz was a puncher too. Just like they said, Berlanga, yeah, Berlanga's a puncher. You know, but Sheeraz did what he was supposed to do. And I told my man, I said, I told you that could happen.
And Oscar, not done. Although the bout was finished, his final jab accompanied a grin and an edge of irony, something from that mad press conference surfaced, perverted into a joke, a reminder of how crazy it had all become. For Oscar, it wasn't revenge, it was enjoyment. When television is finished, sometimes the loudest critics are the quietest jokes. In this instance, the end scripted itself. Berlanga had topped the show and the aftermath.
Oh my God! Sheeraz, congratulations! Berlanga! Oh my God, you got knocked out! Oh my God, oh, something Canelo Alvarez couldn't do!
For more analysis with the full story behind the highlights, subscribe here, because in boxing, it isn't always the punches that land hardest, it's what occurs after the bell.